People in Okun-Eri still talk about the day Ngozi almost never came back. It began like any other sunny morning in the small fishing village by the river. Waves lapped against wooden canoes, and the smell of smoked fish drifted through the air. Children played on the sand, women prepared food, and men got ready to sail out for the day's catch. Life here was simple, and everyone knew everyone. Among them was Ngozi, a young woman loved by almost everyone. She wasn't the richest in the village, but she had something money couldn't buy: a kind heart. She helped the elderly, played with the children, and greeted everyone with a warm smile. People often said, "Ngozi's smile can make you forget your troubles." But not everyone liked her. 3 other girls, Amara, Kome, and Folasad, watched her with quiet jealousy. They saw how people admired her and how young men always noticed her first. The 3 girls wanted that attention for themselves. They never showed their true feelings, but inside, they disliked her deeply. None of them knew it yet, but before the day was over, their jealousy would lead them to do something that would change all their lives forever. One hot afternoon, the village crier walked barefoot along the sandy paths of Okun-Eri. He beat his talking drum slowly, so that the sound carried from one end of the village to the other. "Attention! Attention!" he called out between beats. The festival of the first catch will be held in Ala Oba in 3 days. There will be music, dancing, food, and games for all. People stepped out of their huts to listen. Children clapped and ran around excitedly. Some women began to discuss what they might wear if they attended. Ngozi, who was returning from the stream with a clay pot balanced on her head, paused to listen. She had heard of Ala Oba's festivals before, but had never been to one. They said the streets would be full of lanterns. The smell of food would fill the air, and the sound of drums would echo until morning. Her heart leapt with excitement. She could already imagine herself walking among the colorful stalls, tasting roasted corn, and watching dancers perform in bright costumes. But when she told her parents that evening, her mother's smile faded. "Ngozi, that festival is in the next village. To get there, you must cross the Uvano River," she said seriously. "That river is not ordinary. It has rules, and it is not safe for someone who does not know them." Her father added, "We will be traveling to visit your Aunt Ifeoma that same day. You will stay at home and do your chores. I don't want you near that river. Do you understand?" Ngozi lowered her eyes and nodded. "Yes, Papa." But inside, her curiosity burned even brighter. On the morning of the festival, Ngozi was sweeping the compound when she heard voices calling her name. She looked up to see Amara, Kome, and Folasade walking toward her, all wearing big smiles. "Ngozi, we've come to take you to the festival," Amara announced. Ngozi's broom slowed. "I can't. My parents told me to stay home." Kome waved her hand, as if brushing away a silly thought. "We'll be with you the whole time. You'll be safe." "Yes," Folasad added quickly. "And we'll make sure you get home before your parents return. You deserve to enjoy yourself today." Ngozi bit her lip. "But I still have chores to do." "Then let's help you," Amara said brightly. 4 hands are faster than 2. The 3 of them set to work. They fetched water from the stream, gathered firewood, and even helped sweep the yard. By the time they were done, the sun was high in the sky and Ngozi's chores were complete. She hesitated for a moment, then smiled. "All right, let me change my wrapper and we can go." As they left, Ngozi thought of her parents' warning, but the sound of the girls' cheerful chatter made her push the thought aside. The path to Ala Oba wound through tall grass, past a line of palm trees, and finally opened up to the banks of the Uvano River. The water was calm and still, as if it were asleep. Instead of a bridge, large stepping stones formed a narrow path across. Ngozi stopped at the edge. "Why does it feel so quiet here? Even the birds aren't singing." "Rivers are always like this in the afternoon," Folasade said casually. "Come on, let's go before the sun gets too hot." The 3 girls stepped onto the stones without hesitation. Ngozi followed, carefully placing one foot in front of the other. She could feel the smooth, wet surface of the stones under her feet, and now and then a cool breeze rose from the water. Halfway across, she thought she saw something pale move under the surface. She blinked, but it was gone. The others didn't stop or look down. In minutes, they were on the other side. What Ngozi didn't know was that there was an old rule. Anyone who crossed the river must drop an offering of food before crossing back. If not, the guardian of the river, a mermaid named Mami Azu, would pull them under forever. Amara, Kome, and Folasade knew this rule. They just didn't tell her. Ala Oba was everything Ngozi had imagined, and more. The air was alive with music from talking drums. The smell of roasted fish and ripe plantains drifted through the streets, and bright lanterns hung from wooden poles. People laughed, danced, and sang. Traders shouted, calling buyers to their stalls. Children ran between the crowds, holding sticks of sugar cane. Ngozi's eyes were wide as she took it all in. She tasted sweet fritters covered in honey, tried roasted corn, and even bought a beaded bracelet from a smiling old woman. Then she met Oba, a tall young man with a gentle smile. "You must be from Okun-Eri," he said. "I haven't seen you here before." "My friends brought me," she replied shyly. Oba showed her around the festival, introducing her to his friends and pointing out the best places to eat. For the first time in her life, Ngozi felt free, like she belonged somewhere new. From a distance, Amara, Kome, and Folasade watched, their smiles fading. "Look at her," Amara said through clenched teeth. "She's acting like a queen." "All the boys are looking at her instead of us," Kome replied. Folasade crossed her arms. "She won't be smiling for long. Tonight, we finish this." They knew Ngozi was enjoying herself, but they also knew something she didn't. She would never make it home safely without that offering. When the festival began to wind down, Amara called out, "Ngozi, it's time to go before it gets too late." Ngozi waved goodbye to Oba, who gave her a small gift, a cowrie shell for luck. As they reached the riverbank, the moon was high, casting silver light over the still water. Amara stepped forward and dropped a piece of bread into the river. Kome followed with roasted fish. Folasade tossed in fried plantain. Ngozi frowned. Why are you throwing food into the water? It's just something we do, Folktale said quickly. Ngozi checked her hands. She had nothing. Please, can I have a little from one of you? Amara's voice was cold. We don't have enough. Rules are rules, Kome added with a smirk. They crossed without looking back, leaving Ngozi on the riverbank. The water began to ripple. At first it was gentle, then it swirled faster. From the depths, a beautiful but fearsome woman emerged. Her hair was long and black, her skin shimmered like polished shells, and her eyes glowed in the moonlight. You crossed my waters without an offering, her voice boomed. Ngozi's knees trembled. I didn't know. Please forgive me. The mermaid's face was cold. The river shows no mercy to those who break its law. Before Ngozi could move, the mermaid grabbed her wrist. The icy touch sent shivers through her body, and in an instant she was dragged beneath the water. High in a tree near the river, a small kingfisher had been watching. It had seen the girls cross with food, refuse to share, and leave Ngozi behind. It had seen the mermaid drag her under. The next morning, the bird flew into the heart of Okun-Eri, perching on a roof. It began to sing in a strange rhythmic way. 3 gave food, 1 gave none. The river took her. Children heard it first and called for their parents. Soon, half the village had gathered to listen. The song spread from person to person like wildfire. When Ngozi's parents returned from visiting Aunt Ifeoma, they expected to find her waiting at home. Instead, her mat was empty. They asked the neighbors, but no one had seen her since the day before. Then they heard the kingfisher's strange song and followed it to the Uvano River. Her mother stepped forward and called out, Great Mother of the Waters, please return our daughter. The water rippled, and the mermaid appeared, with Ngozi standing silently beside her. Her eyes were dull, and her face had no expression. She belongs to me now, the mermaid said. She crossed my waters without an offering. Her father took a step forward. Tell us what we must do to win her back. The mermaid's voice was calm but firm. Cross my river together with nothing but your love. If you succeed, she will be free. If you fail, you will stay with me forever. Ngozi's parents looked at each other. They were simple villagers, not warriors, but their love for their daughter was stronger than any fear. We will do it, her father said. The mermaid's eyes glistened like moonlight on water. Step into the river. You must cross without any food or offering, only with your hearts joined. They joined hands and stepped onto the first stone. The river, calm a moment ago, began to swirl. Cold water splashed over their feet, and the stones became slippery. Her mother tightened her grip. Hold on to me. Halfway across, a strong current rose from nowhere, almost knocking them into the water. A voice echoed in their ears. Turn back, turn back. They fought forward, but a wave taller than a man rose suddenly and swept them off their feet. The river pulled them under. When they came up, coughing and gasping, they were back at the starting bank. The mermaid's voice was like ice. You have failed once. 2 more tries remain. As the mermaid disappeared, an old woman appeared from the trees. She had been watching quietly. Her back was bent, her wrapper faded, and her hair white as seashells. I know how to cross, she said in a low voice. Ngozi's mother stepped forward eagerly. Please tell us. The old woman looked at the water. The river does not fear strength. It fears truth. If you walk across carrying the weight of your secrets, it will throw you back. You must speak aloud what is hidden in your hearts as you walk. Only then will the stones stay firm. Her father frowned. Our secrets? Yes, the woman said. All of them, even the ones that shame you. Before they could thank her, she turned and vanished into the forest as if she had never been there. The mermaid returned that evening, her hair dripping water. Are you ready to try again? We are, her father said firmly. They stepped onto the stones once more. This time, her mother took a deep breath and spoke. I was angry the day you sold your fishing net without telling me. Her father glanced at her in surprise but kept walking. I was jealous when you sang to the other men at the market, he confessed. With each secret spoken, the stones felt less slippery. The current slowed and the air grew warmer. But when they were only 2 stones away from the other side, her father hesitated. There was one secret he could not bring himself to say. The moment he stopped, the water roared to life, dragging them back to the starting bank. The mermaid shook her head. You have failed twice. One chance remains. While her parents rested on the bank, the mermaid pulled Ngozi back under. Beneath the surface, the river was not just water, it was another world. Strange fish with glowing scales swam past. Tall plants swayed like dancers. The mermaid's palace was made of shells and coral, glowing faintly in the dim light. Other river maidens moved silently through the halls, their eyes fixed on Ngozi. You will stay here forever, the mermaid told her. Your voice will sing for me. Your hands will braid my hair, and your days will be mine. Ngozi's heart sank. She thought of her parents and wondered if she would ever see the sun again. The next morning, her parents stood once more at the riverbank. The mermaid rose from the water. This is your final chance. They joined hands and stepped onto the stones. Her mother spoke first. I was angry when you gave the bigger yam to your brother instead of keeping it for us. Her father took a deep breath. And I have always feared I am not a good enough husband or father. The moment he said it, the water grew still. The stones felt warm under their feet. They crossed without slipping, and when they stepped onto the far bank, Ngozi appeared beside them, her eyes bright again. The mermaid's voice softened. Love and truth have freed her. Go. When they returned to Okun-Eri, the villagers gathered around to hear what had happened. Ngozi told them everything from the festival to the river crossing, from the mermaid's palace to the old woman's advice. Gasps and murmurs filled the air. Some villagers crossed themselves, others whispered prayers. But Amara, Kome, and Folasade stood at the back, pale and silent. They had not expected Ngozi to return alive. That night, as Ngozi lay in bed, she heard the sound of water splashing outside. She stepped out and saw the mermaid in the moonlight, standing by the edge of the river. The mermaid said, But your friends are not. They knew the law of the river and chose to deceive you. I will deal with them myself. Before Ngozi could reply, the mermaid disappeared beneath the water, leaving only ripples behind. The next morning, the village was in chaos. Amara, Kome, and Fulasad were gone. Their mother said they had not returned from fetching water. Some people whispered that the mermaid had taken them. Others said they had fled in shame. No one knew for sure, but Ngozi knew. She kept silent. Months passed. Ngozi's life slowly returned to normal, but she never forgot the lessons she had learned. She stayed away from the Uvano River and warned others to respect its rules. She often visited the old woman in the forest, bringing her food and listening to her stories about the world of spirits and water beings. Years later, children in Okun-Eri would ask Ngozi to tell them the story of the mermaid. She would gather them by the fire and say, "Never let jealousy guide your actions. Never break the rules of the water. And above all, speak the truth to those you love, because love without truth cannot save you." The children would nod, wide-eyed, as the waves of the Uvano River whispered in the distance. And somewhere deep below, the mermaid would smile.